I look out into the audience and I see a really diverse group of people that come from all different walks of life and background. And I'm honored to be able to stand here today and say that I am excited about the prospect of being the MLA for Surrey-Fleetwood. Stephanie mentioned that Charlene and my roots go to Surrey. My wife grew up most of her life in Surrey. I did from my teenage years. We both graduated from Queen Elizabeth High School, and I'm glad my principal isn't there anymore. He might have a few thoughts about how I was in the days that I was at Queen Elizabeth, because I was a bit of a rebel at times, and but I had fun. And I love Surrey. You know, this is a community that I've watched change and grow and has such a tremendous future in terms of its economic impact in the entire province, not just in this region, but the entire province. And so, excuse me, when I was asked why would a Langley mayor even consider running in a Surrey riding, and that's a fair question. I've served the community of Langley City for 10 years now in elected office as a councillor and 3 terms now as mayor. But I've said many times that I have worked tirelessly, not just for the city of Langley, but for the entire region, for the entire province, and even nationally on issues like negotiating the most recent RC&P contract. And people said to me, why would you do that? And I did that because both my wife and I are committed to making a difference. You know, all of us go through life and we wonder, why are we here and what are we going to do? And I've always felt that I've been called to make a difference in my community, in my region, in the lives of people that I've served in whatever I've done, whether that it was as a volunteer or whether it has been as an elected official. So I stand here humbly saying that I think it is time for me to step up and take that next step into provincial leadership. And why the BC Liberals? Well, I believe in a strong economy. I believe in a province that needs to cast a vision for the future. I believe in a party that has that vision clearly in sight and is willing to work to get there. I also believe in Premier Christy Clark. And you know, I've had a lot of people say to me, well, you know, there's been lots of challenges and all of those things, and yes, there has. Because anytime you step up into leadership, the critics are going to be looking at what you do wrong, not what you do right. I've had a bit of experience with that. But I know this, in my discussions with the Premier and with the other leaders in the caucus of the BC Liberal Party and the government, they care about this province as passionately as I do. They care about the future of my children, my grandchildren, and someday my great-grandchildren. Because we have to have a vision that isn't just by election cycles, that looks 20 and 30 and 40 years down the road to say, where do we want to be in this province in the world context? You know, 50, 60 years ago, the world was a much tighter place. We could live in our communities and not feel the effect of what happened in Europe or what happens in Asia. But we know today we don't live in isolation. We have to make those connections. And that's what Christy Clark and the BC Liberals have talked about. You know, the other day in the throne speech, they talked about LNG potential in this province. And the critics came out and said, oh, it's all pie in the sky and the revenue isn't going to flow for years and so on. And yet probably a few months before they said, where's the vision for the future? And so the disconnect there is when you cast a vision for the future, people say, well, when is it going to be realized? I've known that in my municipal career where people say, you have a vision, when's it going to happen? We want instant gratification. But an economic plan for the province of British Columbia has to look 10, 15, 20 years ahead. It has to communicate that to the world market so that other countries that can take advantage of what we have to offer and the jobs we create here for families, that they see British Columbia as a province in a country that is going to make a difference in their lives as well. So I applaud the vision for LNG. I applaud the vision for future development of our other natural resources. I look at what we've done in the areas of technology in this province. We are leaders in the world, and you know why? It's because of our attitude. We care about where this province is going to go. We care about our role in the country of Canada that I love as well, and I know all of you do. But we also care about where we fit in the world context. And the one thing that I know is social programs, people who work hard to help each other. And I think we're blessed in British Columbia of an attitude of caring for each other. We care for the disadvantaged. We need social housing. We need transportation infrastructure to be able to provide people with the opportunities to do what they need to do in their daily lives, whether it's going to medical appointments for seniors or to college or university for young people. That's what transportation is. It isn't just about moving people around aimlessly. It's part of our life structure. It's part of healthy communities. That's why I've been a strong advocate for a transportation system that is funded to the long term, that meets the needs of communities, that also sees the vision for the future, so we put transportation before we need it, so that we don't play catch-up all the time like we are south of the Fraser. And I have said, along with Mayor Watts and Mayor Froese from the township of Langley and the other communities south in the northeast sector, we have grown, we're going to continue to grow, and we just want to catch up to the transportation we need today, and then we need to plan for the future. So when I decided to put my name forward, people said to me, well, what qualifies you? And you're going to be running against someone. And I said, you know what? I don't run against anything. I run for things.
You're here.